I want to say big welcome to you all to this training on fire safety. Fire safety is an aspect of occupational health and safety management, or HSC, health safety and environment. My name is Olanwaju Adebayo Bamdele, and thank you for hosting me. Fire is an important aspect of occupational health safety and environmental management that must not be taken for granted because of its importance and danger. All over the world, fire accidents has proven to be a big issue, not just to the industrialists, but in homes in Nigeria, in other parts of the world. If you listen to news on television, on the radio, and on the newspaper, you must have been hearing about fire accidents, fire outbreak, not just in our country, Nigeria, but in other parts of the world. So the issue, the concept, or the topic of fire safety is very important and cannot be overemphasized. It is a major aspect of HSC. Now, to begin this lecture or this presentation or this discussion, it is very important that I take you through some basic chemistry of fire. Fire is simply the rapid oxidation of materials called fuels in the exothermic chemical process of combustion, releasing heat, light, and various reaction products. So take note, rapid oxidation, fire occurs rapidly. And when you hear the word oxidation, oxygen should come to your mind. An exothermic chemical reaction shows that fire is a chemical process. Combustion involves heat, release of heat, and light, and other forms of products, other forms of reaction products. Fire is hot because because of the conversion of the weak double bond in molecular oxygen. O2, it refers to molecular oxygen, and it is made up of some weak bonds, double bonds. So the conversion of these weak double bonds in molecular oxygen to the stronger bonds in the combustion products, um, such as carbon dioxide and water, releases energy. So the energy released when fire happens is what is responsible for the disaster that fire causes. Now, at a certain point in the combustion reaction called the ignition point, flames are produced. So there's a point in the combustion reaction called the ignition point. At that point, at certain points of that combustion reaction called the ignition point, flames are produced. The flame is the visible portion of the fire. So if you look at this diagram, you see flame. This flame is the visible portion of the fire, and it occurs at the ignition points of the combustion reaction. Flames consist primarily of carbon dioxide, water vapor, oxygen, and nitrogen. And if hot enough, if the flame is hot enough, like in oven flame, very high oven flame of about 1000 degrees Celsius, the gases may become ionized to produce what is called plasma. Fire triangle. Now, the fire triangle or combustion triangle is a simple model for understanding the necessary ingredients for fire. It's a model that illustrates, that shows all of the ingredients of fire. Now, the triangle illustrates the three elements a fire needs to ignite. These elements are heat, fuel, and oxygen. The oxygen is the oxidizing agent. Without any of these elements, fire will never happen. A fire naturally occurs when the elements are present and combined in the right mixture, in the right proportion. In the absence of any of these elements, fire will never occur. Fire can be prevented or extinguished by removing any of the elements in the fire triangle. If you want to extinguish fire, just remove just one of the elements of the fire triangle, either oxygen, heat, or fuel. Fire will not happen. And if it has already happened, or it was happening, or it has occurred, it will be extinguished by the time you remove just one of the elements. For example, covering a fire with a fire blanket blocks oxygen and can extinguish a fire. Now, in large fires where firefighters are called in, increasing the amount of oxygen is not usually an option because there's no way, no effective way to make that happen in an extended area. So the summary of all of this is that for fire to happen, three elements must be present. In the absence of these three elements, fire will never happen. And if it has already happened or is already happening, it has started already, just remove one of the elements using any means possible, the fire will be extinguished. Fire tetrahedron. Fire tetrahedron represents the addition of a component in the chemical chain reaction to the three already discussed components in the fire triangle. These components are oxygen, heat, and fuel. When these components are present, fire happens. While in the absence of just one of the components, fire will not occur. And if it has already started, it will be extinguished. So this fourth component can be free radicals. And once a fire has started, the resulting exothermic chain reaction sustains the fire and allows it to continue until or unless at least one of the elements of the fire is blocked. For instance, foam can be used to deny the fire the oxygen it needs to propagate. Also, water can be used to lower the temperature of the fuel below the ignition point or to remove or disperse the fuel. Likewise, halon can be used to remove the free radicals and create a barrier of inert gas in a direct attack on the chemical reaction responsible for the fire. So these components can be removed either with water, halon, or foam. And when this is the case, just one of the components, if removed with any of this material, will result into fire extinguishment. Classes of fire. Fire can be classified or categorized into 6 basic types. You have Class A fires. Class A fires are fires involving solid materials such as wood, paper, or textiles. Class B. Class B fires involves flammable liquids such as petrol, diesel, or oils. Class C fires are fires involving gases. Class D fires are fires involving metals. Class E fires are fires involving live electrical appliances or apparatus. Technically, Class E fire doesn't exist. However, this is used for convenience. Class F are fires involving cooking oils, such as in deep fat fryers. So these are the various categories or classes of fire. Class A, B, C, D, E, F. The one that is common that we are acquainted with are the class A, B, C, and sometimes class D. That is fires involving solid metals or materials such as wood, paper, textiles, and those involving flammable liquids such as petrol, diesel, or oils, crude oils, those involving gases, and some involving metals. Now, having discussed what fire is, what are the different types of fire extinguishers? How can fire be extinguished? Fire extinguishers are designed to tackle specific types of fire. You can't just use any extinguishers on any kind of fire. Each extinguisher is designed with respect to the type of fire that it is meant to extinguish. The following are some examples of fire extinguishers. You have water extinguishers. Water extinguishers are one of the most cost-effective ways to fight Class A fires. Class A fires are fires fueled by solid materials such as paper, wood, and textiles, as discussed earlier. So water extinguishers are used in combating Class A fires. Foam extinguishers are used in combating Class A and B fires. They are most suited to extinguishing liquid fires such as petrol, diesel, and are more versatile than water jet extinguishers, that is water extinguishers, because they can also be used on solids such as wood and paper, not just liquid fires such as petrol or diesel. They can be used also for combating fires involving wood and paper. The foam extinguishers consist of foam which extinguishes liquid fires by sealing the surface of the liquid, thereby preventing flammable vapor reaching the air and starving the fire or fuel. They are not suitable for use on free-flowing liquid fires. You should not use foam extinguishers for on free-flowing liquid fires. Powder extinguishers. Powder extinguishers are a good multi-purpose fire extinguisher because they can be used on Class A, B, and C fires. They can be used on Class A, B, and C fires. So they are multi-purpose in nature. They can also be used on fires involving electrical equipment. However, they do not cool the fire, so it can reignite. Powder extinguishers can also create a loss of visibility and may create breathing problems. While using powder extinguishers, you should be careful of your respiratory system. They are not generally recommended for use inside buildings unless there is absolutely no alternative. Unless there is absolutely no alternative. So you should not just use powder extinguishers because of the health hazards associated with it. Carbon dioxide extinguishers, CO2. CO2 extinguishers or carbon dioxide extinguishers are ideal for places with a lot of electrical equipment, such as offices or server rooms, because they are safe to use on fires involving electrical apparatus. So CO2 extinguishers are used with respect to electrical equipment in offices, in areas with a lot of electrical equipment. So they are used on electric fire caused by electricity. The best extinguisher for such fires are CO2 extinguishers. Carbon dioxide extinguishers do not leave any residue, unlike a foam extinguisher. So when you use the CO2 extinguisher, you may not see any residue on the floor, on your material, unlike a foam extinguisher. So they can also be used on Class B fires, fires involving flammable liquids such as paraffin or petrol. CO2 extinguishers work by smothering the fire and cutting off the supply of air. So the CO2, the carbon dioxide content of CO2 extinguishers helps in smothering the fire and cutting off the supply of air. Wet chemical extinguishers. Wet chemical extinguishers are suitable for use on class F fires, fires involving cooking oils and fats such as lard, olive oil, sunflower oil, maize oil and butter. So wet chemical extinguishers or chemical extinguishers are suitable for fires such as oils, fats, lard oil and the likes. So they are used on class F fires. They are extremely effective when used correctly. The wet chemical rapidly knocks the flames out, cools the burning oil, and chemically reacts to form a soap-like solution. Chemically reacts to form a soap-like solution, sealing the surface and preventing reignition. Although they are primarily designed for use on class F fires, cooking fires, and deep fat fires, they can also be used on class A fires, fires involving wood, paper, fabrics, and class B fires, fires involving flammable liquids such as petrol, paraffins, and the likes. So it's a very effective way of extinguishing fire, and it is used on class F fires primarily. Fire blankets. Fire blankets are primarily used on hot oil fires such as frying pans or small deep fat fryers. Fire blankets are used on hot oil fires, including fry pans or small deep fat fryers. They can also be used on someone whose clothing has caught fire. They work by smothering the fire, stopping access to the oxygen fueling it, and extinguishing it. They work by smothering the fire, stopping access to the oxygen fueling it, and extinguishing it. How can we operate a fire extinguisher? Fire extinguisher can be operated using using some simple steps summarized as PASS. PASS, PASS. Now, PASS is an acronym that is used to describe the four basic steps in operating a fire extinguisher. The first step is pull, P. This involves pulling the pin at the top of the extinguisher, that is, breaking the seal, and that can be seen on the picture below. The second step is aim, A. In this, you approach the fire standing at a safe distance. Standing at a safe distance, you aim at the base of the fire of around 8 to 10 inch away. The third step is squeezing, S. You squeeze the handles together of the fire extinguisher to discharge the extinguishing agent inside it. Then the fourth step is to sweep. Sweep the base of the fire, and then gradually you see the fire start extinguishing. If you haven't done so yet, kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button on the screen. Also, click on the notification button to get notified of our future videos. If you find this video especially helpful, please do not hesitate to like and share with your audience on social media.